Could you survive these deadly eras of history? If right now, with no tools, you were dropped into one of Earth's ancient time periods, how long do you think you'd actually last? Maybe you're thinking, I'm smart, I'll figure something out. But here's the harsh truth. Back then, nature only had one rule: survive or get erased. Today, we're traveling to some of the most dangerous eras in history, and there's one rule you need to know. You have no superpowers. Just you, against a world built to kill you. Destination 1. Roughly 70 million years ago. Earth, but not the Earth you know. Hotter air, less oxygen than today. Forests that seem to stretch on forever. And sounds you don't even want to imagine. The first mistake most people make is assuming the biggest threat here is the T-Rex. The truth is way scarier than that. The odds you'd even see a T-Rex are actually pretty low, but the odds you'd die from starvation, disease, parasites, venomous insects, or smaller predators before that, much higher. Our bodies weren't built for that world. We evolved millions of years later. Our immune systems are calibrated for today's microbes, not organisms that existed tens of millions of years ago. One insect bite, one sip of contaminated water, that could be enough to end you within days. Now picture this. You hear branches snapping. Suddenly, something the size of a small building steps out from between the trees. Just running from something like that would drain every ounce of energy you have. And remember, you don't know which plants are poisonous, which fruit is safe to eat, or which river is crawling with predators. Your odds of survival? We're talking less than 1%. Most people wouldn't even make it a full week. But trust me, we haven't hit the most dangerous era yet. Now let's jump forward. About 70 million years. This time, the enemy isn't an animal. It's the cold. Temperatures that can drop as low as -40. A lot of people assume that if they just start a fire, they're basically saved. But starting a fire with nothing, just your bare hands, is nowhere near as easy as the movies make it look. Food is almost impossible to find. Most of the land is buried under snow and ice for most of the year, so you'd have to hunt. But hunt what exactly? A mammoth? Giant bison? Wild deer? Every single one of them is faster and stronger than you. And that's only if you're lucky enough to be alone, because saber-toothed tigers are about to become your worst nightmare, sinking their teeth into your skull right while you're asleep, or right when you think you're finally escaping. All it takes is one night without proper shelter, or getting your clothes wet. You might not wake up the next morning. Survival odds for a modern human here? About 3 to 5%, and that's only if you're extremely lucky. Now, finally, we've reached an era where actual humans live on Earth. You're probably thinking, okay, I'm saved now. Nope, this might be exactly where the real trouble starts. Stone Age humans were smart, far smarter than most people give them credit for. They had thousands of years of accumulated survival knowledge. They knew which plants were toxic, which tracks belonged to which predator, and how to turn a piece of rock into a deadly tool. You know none of that, but your biggest problem is being alone. People back then lived in groups. If you're on your own, hunting is nearly impossible, building shelter is brutally hard, and every sound at night could be the last one you ever hear. For a modern human, survival odds in the Stone Age land somewhere around 15 to 20%. Still not great, but compared to the world of dinosaurs, it might as well be paradise. Now we're entering an era where humans stop fearing nature and start fearing each other. Let's travel back about 4,500 years to a place most people picture as nothing but the 3 Great Pyramids, but the reality is very different. If you suddenly appeared in the middle of ancient Egypt, the first thing you'd see is an overwhelming number of enslaved workers building those pyramids. Your first problem, if you're lucky, you might be pulled in as a laborer, forced to carry out the pharaoh's orders. But if you decide to disobey, there's about a 99% chance you either get thrown alive into the Nile as a sacrifice to the god of the harvest, or you get buried alive inside the stone layers of the pyramid while the workers keep building on top of you. And your survival odds sit around 30%. Now, we head to Northern Europe, land of ice, sea, and warriors whose name still sends chills today. The Vikings. Vikings basically grew up hunting, sailing, and fighting from childhood. But you can't even build a wooden boat. If you wander into one of their villages, there are only 2 outcomes. Either they kill you, or you prove you're useful. Because in that world, anyone who can't pull their weight is dead weight. Survival odds? Around 25%. Now we step into one of the most powerful empires in history, Rome. From a distance, it looks magnificent and advanced. Massive statues, a disciplined army, everything looks perfect. But that's only from a distance. The truth is, most people didn't live a luxurious life at all. The vast majority were poor. Even the best doctor of that era might treat an illness using methods we now know were more dangerous than the disease itself. And if you're unlucky enough to get swept into political or military conflict, you could easily find yourself in the middle of the wars against the Persian Empire. Or worse, standing in a gladiator arena. Survival odds? Around 40%. Now we arrive at one of the bloodiest periods in history, the Crusades. Almost every road could lead straight into a battlefield. And when you see a line of fully armored cavalry charging straight at you, swords drawn, running is the only option you've got. Food is scarce. Disease spreads rapidly through the armies. And if you're captured, there's absolutely no guarantee you'll live. Here's something interesting. In most historical wars, disease killed far more people than swords ever did. Survival odds? Around 20%. Now we step into an era where humanity's greatest enemy couldn't even be seen. Something that wiped out nearly half of Europe's population in just a few short years. The Black Death. And even more unsettling than the plague itself, the beaked masks doctors wore trying to protect themselves from it. During this era, you didn't even need to leave your house to die. The Black Death moved like a wave of death, sweeping from city to city. But the scariest part wasn't that people were getting sick. The scariest part was that no one truly understood why. Survival odds for a modern human? Somewhere around 10 to 15%. We tend to imagine that life in the past was somehow simpler. But the truth is, most of us probably wouldn't have even made it to our 20th birthday. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like, and to catch the next one, subscribe to the channel.